Hey folks, this is Rhykker, and the Paladin has come to Diablo 4. The expansion Lord of Hatred releases April 28th, and if you pre-order it now, the base $40 version, you get instant access to the Paladin. The Lord of Hatred expansion will also include a second mystery class, playable only when it launches. A ton of features are coming with Lord of Hatred, but we'll talk about that in tomorrow's video. For now, we're just going to focus on the Paladin. It is like 4 or 5 in the morning right now. I just got my Paladin to 60. I'm going to give an overview of what the Paladin is in Diablo 4 and talk a bit about the build that I put together here to level from 1 to 60. It was a breeze. It was a blast. I'm loving the Paladin. I got to be a Hammerdin as of like level 5. Hammerdin was like my favorite Diablo 2 build. And in Diablo 4 with the Paladin right away as of low level, you get lots of mobility, screen clearing abilities, big area of effect, mobility, movement speed. This class has got it all. It's already my favorite class, hit level 60 in 4 hours without following any build guide. So here, let's talk about the Paladin. It is the sword and board class, but if you don't want to wield one-hander and shield, you don't have to. You can wield a two-hander. As far as I can tell, it's not like the Diablo 3 Crusader where you have the option to have a two-hander in one hand. So it's either sword and board or two-hander. You don't get two-hander plus shield. Now the class specialty is oaths. Like in Dungeons and Dragons, you're taking the Oath of Vengeance, the Oath of this, the Oath of that. You got 4 oaths to pick from, and these are kind of similar to the Spiritborn Spirit Halls, where they're going to have significant impacts on the skills that you use. So depending on what flavor of skill you want to run, you might go more to some of these oaths. So for instance, I am a Blessed Hammer build. I'm a Hammerdin, so I'm going with Disciple. I have this whole build now that's kind of based around the concept of what Disciple does. Casting a Disciple skill with a cooldown grants Arbiter, and Arbiter is basically this juiced like angel mode. You get move speed, your evade is replaced with an angelic leap, your wings attack around you, dealing some damage. So my build is focused around trying to stay inside of Arbiter as much as possible. Because with Disciple, while in Arbiter, my Disciple skills deal 50% increased damage. But again, each of these oaths kind of synergizes around a different concept. So Judicator is all about judgment. Juggernaut is all about resolve. This is a tankier build. And Zealot is all about fervor, attacking fast, zeal. When you look at the Paladin skill tree, you can see it's already more advanced than the skill trees that the other classes have. Every skill has 3 upgrade paths now, and they're much more build changing or skill changing than the other classes. But my understanding is the expansion is bringing the big skill tree rework for all classes, and that also includes improvements to the Paladins, even though it's already at a baseline better than all the other, skill twigs, as they're known as. But you have Brandish, which is kind of like sweep attack in D3. You have Holy Bolt. That's the one I'm using, and I've spec'd it to be a Disciple skill, and it's going to apply vulnerable. You have Clash, which hits with your sword and shield. This is a more defensive setup. And then you have Advance, which is a mobility-based basic attack. Then we go into our core skills. This is where I took Blessed Hammer. And I've taken the level up where it's going to spiral and orbit around me as I move. This also makes it a Disciple skill to go along with our synergies. But you have Divine Lance, you have Shield Bash, you have Zeal, and you have Blessed Shield. I think I hear Blessed Shield is kind of busted right now. That's the Captain America build. Then you have your auras. There are 3 different auras. You got Fanaticism. I have that one equipped. That's giving me passively attack speed and crit chance. And it's also, when you activate its active ability, it's going to weaken enemies, but I've modified it so that it's not going to weaken enemies, but rather make them vulnerable. And you could stack all 3 auras if you want to. At some point I was experimenting with that. Another aura here is Defiance. This is a defensive aura. Another one is Holy Light. This is a damaging aura. Then in Valor skills, you have Shield Charge. You have Aegis. Aegis is going to taunt enemies and boost your block chance. You have Falling Star. This is like Falling Sword. So this is a big teleport skill. This is what really allows me to live out my Hammered in fantasy with the Enigma and the teleporting and the spinning of the hammers. So I've spec'd it to have an additional charge. It is a Disciple skill, so I wanted to have another charge so that whenever I'm casting a Disciple skill with a cooldown, right, I am triggering my Oath. And whenever I kill a vulnerable enemy, I'm reducing the cooldown by 1 second. That's a reason why I want to have enemies vulnerable all the time, apart from just dealing more damage to them, of course. Then there's also Rally. I hear great things about that. That is giving you a move speed buff and generating Faith. Faith is your mana, your resource. Then you have Purify, which is going to crowd control enemies. You have Consecration. This is going to heal you and damage enemies. You have Condemn, like the D3 Crusader here. I've spec'd into this. This is going to pull in enemies and stun them, so it's nice for grouping up enemies, but I have spec'd it as well to apply Vulnerable and give me another charge. So again, I'm going to be popping different Disciple skills on cooldown multiple times. They have multiple charges because I'm trying to maintain all that uptime on my Oath. And then lastly, for my alt, I'm taking Arbiter of Justice. Ascend to the heavens and come down as an Arbiter for 30 seconds. This is your alt mode. You basically become an angel. And when I am in Arbiter mode, I have a ton more move speed. And I'm making nearby enemies vulnerable. But there's also Zenith as an ultimate, summon a sword that cleaves on the battlefield. There is Fortress, this is a big defensive one. And you have Heaven's Fury like the D3 Crusader, laser beams from the sky. Now for the ultimates, I'm taking Exaltation. During Arbiter, your damage is increased by another 85% multiplier. But you can also go Judgment Day. This is with the Judgment synergy. You can go with Path of the Penitent. That's if you go for Zealot. You can go with Coat of Arms. This is giving you more defenses. With this play style, I have, again, high mobility. I'm spinning my hammers around, big damage. I can pop my auras. I pop my ultimate. I don't really run out of resources either. Sometimes I'm popping Holy Bolt, but it's not really all that often. Move around the battlefield when I come up to a pack, spam, 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 and I can pop my Condemn to suck in enemies, and yeah, altogether just having a grand old time. My gear is honestly just whatever I slap together. There's no synergies here at all, and I feel as though the passives for the Paladin are kind of downplayed. I actually found myself kind of struggling to find what passives to take. So I'm taking a bit of like armor and block chance here. I'm going for more damage against elites. I'm going for chance to ignore damage over here. I'm getting some crit damage. I'm getting some crits grant damage reduction, more crit strike damage while healthy, increased vulnerable damage, increased cooldown reduction. That's very important because there's a big ol' cooldown on Arbiter of Justice. Increased holy and fire damage because my blessed hammers are dealing holy damage. But altogether, I feel like there's not like a whole lot of choices. It's pretty obvious kind of what passives to go for. More armor, more block chance, getting a bit of blocks restore faith just because I had to keep tossing skill points somewhere. Core skills dealing increased damage. That's the first one I maxed out to synergize with my blessed hammer. Anyway, folks, so that's my Paladin. That's how I've built my Paladin. Again, it was a breeze going from 1 to 60. No good gear, just on the strength of the skills alone. Now we'll see how well it performs going up in the Torment levels. You'll get a follow-up from me at some point. But at least 1 to 60 Paladin is a very strong and very fun class. But I turn the question to you folks. What do you think of the Paladin? Sound off in the comments. Also, folks, as a heads up, we are doing our Rhykkers Raiders Patreon shirt for 2025. You have until the end of December to be a Patreon supporter, even at the $1 tier pledge. That'll get your name on the shirt. That's patreon.com/Rhykker. Thanks for watching, folks. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters for making these videos possible. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to join Rhykkers Raiders for more Diablo content.